Do you want to be able to produce an unlimited amount of food completely automatically without you having to do anything? Well, I'm going to show you the simplest villager driven food farm that I know. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, depending on what time you're watching this next video from me, Avomance, in my farm tutorial series. Today we're doing a simple villager driven food farm. This is something that you guys have actually asked me for well, a number of times. It's an update to the Flushy farm that is not fully automatic. This is completely and utterly automatic. It is villager driven. You've got a little farmer villager dude inside there who is doing the farming for you. I'll explain all the mechanics in a minute, but it is quite an effective farm. I use this to do carrots. I find carrots is absolutely the best crop that you can use to be able to get a farm going, because carrots are the most efficient villager breeding thing. And also you can use them for food and breeding up pigs and all that kind of stuff. So there's all sorts of options you can do with carrots, but you can do it with potatoes if you wanted to, and you can also do it with wheat and beetroot. So you've got some choices. Let's get on with it. To make this exactly the way I did, and you don't have to, you could make it simpler, you are going to need 110 cobblestone stairs, 99 stone bricks, 14 cobblestone slabs. You're going to need 80 dirt, 1 bucket of water, 1 hoe. You're going to need 80 carrots, 92 glass blocks, 7 blocks of glowstone, 183 spruce slabs, 8 hoppers, 6 chests, 6 torches, and you're going to need a variety of bits and pieces to be able to get your villagers in. Now, assuming you've got a villager breeder, you're going to need 1 activator rail, 1 detector rail, 1 redstone repeater, 1 sticky piston, 1 dot of redstone dust, various rails and powered rails, however you want to do that, 1 lever to power the powered rails, and some temporary blocks. Be really cautious. Make sure you do not build this farm within 100 blocks of a village or any other type of village type thing like an iron farm or a villager breeder. They tend to not work as well if they are close to other villagey places. First things first, you are going to be creating a 9 by 9 square. So decide where you want the center of that 9 by 9 square to be. So I'm going to just put it here. It's sort of arbitrary. I've got enough space around me, and build a 2 high tower, and then come 4 in one direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Build another 2, and then the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Build another 2. In this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Build 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, build 2, and then in the corners, surprisingly, build another 2. So you've got effectively a 9 by 9 square, but it's actually in 2 high rods. So that makes sense there, right? So the next thing I want you to do is to build, using the same stone brick block, is to build the entirety of that 9 by 9 square. Just literally build it around. It doesn't have to be stone brick, obviously. You can use whatever brick or stone or whatever block, frankly. If you want to use purple wool, you go for your life. But just make an entire platform that spans the whole of this 9 by 9. One 9 by 9 platform with a 2 high underneath that you can walk through. Then get some cobblestone stairs. This is aesthetic, nothing more than that, and whack cobblestone stairs on the outsides of all of these. So these are the legs. So we want to keep hold of these legs so as they look at least a little bit nicer than purely being kind of up and down. And then in the middle one, shove yourself 4 like that, and on all of these get yourself 4 legs, or 4 outward steps, which gives you 9 completely footed legs. It just adds for a better look when you get the final build. Trust me, this is worth doing. I think we have completed it. Perfect. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put dirt, and we're going to cover the entirety of this 9x9 square with dirt. But we're going to come around until we get to the middle. And in the middle, which is one, hang on, I've got to find my middle, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, which is this block. Do not put a dirt block in it. Literally just leave it completely open. I'll be back when I've finished that. Next thing you need to do is decide which side of this farm are you going to have the collection system on. On whatever side you're going to have collection system on, so I'm going to choose this side here. On the other sides, I want you to build upside down steps. Again, it doesn't matter what material you use. I'm using cobble just so as it contrasts with that stone brick, but bring it all the way around 3 sides. Don't do the 4th side because we're going to do something different on this side. Next up, you are going to get yourself some glass. Now, it doesn't matter what glass block you use, but do use a glass block. Don't use a glass pane, because a glass pane can cause you a few problems. I'm going to use a white stained glass block, and I'm going to come on top of all of these steps all the way around, and I'm going to build a wall in glass that is 2 blocks high. So all those 3 sides like that, and then another row all the way around that is another 1 block high. So that gives me a total wall height of 2 blocks. The white stained glass, it just looks quite nice. I like the visibility through it. It's a little better than some of the darker colours, and as a result I quite like it. And then get some cobblestone stairs and trim off using stairs like this. So you're creating what's effectively a 9x9 pod encapsulated, and it goes in and out at the sides like kind of a relatively attractive way. So now we're going to start to create the collection side of the system. So come in 2 blocks on each end. Again, it doesn't matter what block you use. I'm just using stone brick because I can. And then on the middle one, the one that's in line with that hole in the middle, below the level of the dirt, pop another block. That is a temporary block. Doesn't matter what you use, make it a temporary block, and shove a hopper onto it so the hopper points downwards. Then come to the side and using shift click, poke 2 hoppers into that one, and again shift click 2 hoppers into that one. That will give, you can see the tails of the hoppers run into that middle hopper, and that's what you're trying to achieve. And then we're going to do something with that a little later on. We are, however, going to get ourselves more white stained glass there and there, there and there. So we're starting to get a smaller opening into the farm. Now what I want you to do is to get yourself a cobblestone slab. Doesn't have to be cobblestone, but cobblestone slab works. Put it in the bottom of that hole and waterlog it. Literally just shove a bucket of water onto the cobble. That will waterlog it beautifully, and it means you can just literally bounce in and out of that. You're not going to get stuck particularly. It's a lot easier, and it also means that if you want to jump in from above, you've got a block of water there that will stop you from breaking the farmland. Then what I want you to do is hoe all the way around this 9x9 square. That block of water in the middle is going to be enough to irrigate the entirety of this 9x9 square, so you won't have any of the farmland not being wet enough. It'll all grow very nicely. So I'm just going to finish off doing this. That is brilliant. And then we need to decide, what do we want to make our roof out of? Now you've got some choices as to what you do here. You can use slabs on a bottom level like that, for example, and that will stop mobs from spawning on top of that slab, no problems at all. You can use blocks and bricks or whatever you might like to do, and that depends whether or not you want to put a second level on it. This is just a 1-level farm, but you can multi-level it if you want to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some wooden slabs. I'm going to use spruce, and I'm going to come along and I'm going to, oh, I've just messed that one up, and I'm going to put a bottom slab all the way along the 9x9 square. So now on top of that slab, no mobs can spawn. It is a non-spawnable block, and as a result it makes it a lot easier to mess about with it a little bit later. It also means if you want to build a second level of the farm, you've got that opportunity to do so. So I'll just finish off this 9x9. Perfect. Now this is a little bit dark. So what we need to do is to get ourselves, I find a little bit of glowstone is a good option, but you could use sea lanterns if you chose, or you could even use jack-o'-lanterns and get 4 of these coming from the side. So you've got 1, 2, and on the third one here, look straight up, poke out that slab and shove in your light source, whatever it might be. Here, 1, 2, come onto the third one, look straight up, pop that out and pop in your light source. Do that in all 4 corners. Next up, you're going to plant up your farm. Now, you now can't break any of your farmland because you are underneath a too high ceiling, and that will be also true of the villager. They won't be able to break any of the farmland, so that's going to cause no problems there. Plant it up. I personally like carrots. You could plant potatoes, you could plant wheat, you could plant beetroot. It's entirely up to you. You could have a combo farm if you wanted to. You could have one level that was carrot, one level that was wheat, one level that was potatoes. It works with all of the variants, but carrots I find are the most useful food. You can obviously eat the carrots, but if you're doing villager breeding, carrots is the most efficient food for villager breeding because it don't get any poison potatoes. You don't have to deal with seeds filling up a villager's inventory. Carrots are just basically carrots. Time to put in the collection system, and the collection system comes right underneath and next to this block. So that block is directly, you can see, over that step. So we want to get a double chest there, a double chest on top of it, and a double chest, if I can get there, on top of that. We can then pop out that block completely, and we can bring in from that hopper there that's pointing downwards, we can bring in a hopper into that chest, a hopper into that chest, and you can get rid of that foot and a hopper into that chest. That will give you 3 double chests full of whatever food it is you are trying to achieve, you're trying to get, and then get yourself some cobblestone stairs or whatever other stairs you might want to get. Shift click onto that hopper, that hopper, that hopper, similarly that hopper and that hopper, and then roll all the way around to the edge there, and then come the other way and roll it all the way around to the edge there, and that gives you a continual flow of that step all the way around. And then get yourself your glass and bring in another 2 high here. This is the beginnings of your pod, and we're going to also bring a row of the glass like that. That's perfect. And then get yourself your spruce slab and bring it across the top of that like that. That's brilliant. So that is the internal area of the farm, but we've got to get some villagers going with this. We're going to have 2 different types of villagers inside this farm. The first type of villager is the farmer. They're the one that are going to harvest the carrots on our behalf. The second type of villager is the bait, and they're the ones that are going to trick the farmer into sharing the food, and it's dead simple. Now, if you're doing this in Minecraft 1.13 or below, you are going to need a brown coat farmer. If you are doing this in 1.14 or above, you're going to need a farmer with a hat, because they're the only ones that will do the harvesting. But we haven't quite got there yet. We're going to bring out 2 slabs, the entire width of that 7, so you can see where the glass has come out. We've got 2 slabs, and we're also going to put 2 high on either side. We're not putting anything on this row yet. We're then going to get a temporary block, and we're going to put a temporary block all the way across the top of that. We're going to be removing that later. I know it looks ugly, panic not. We are then going to put a row of glass all the way along there, and another row of temporary blocks along the top of that. This is what's going to help us get the villagers inside. How? Says Avo. Well, I'm going to show you, says Avo number 2. We're going to shove an activator rail there. We're going to shove a normal rail there. We're going to shove a detector rail there. And then we're going to shove a normal rail there and a normal rail there. We can shove basically any kinds of other blocks that you might want to or any other rails that you might want to put in, and then we're going to create a stepping down effect for the entrance and exit. Doesn't have to be a step down for the exit, I guess, but if I make this kind of stepping motion like that, that's perfect. And then I'm just going to pop, you don't have to do powered rails all the way down. If you'd rather do it with normal rails, that's absolutely fine. Pop a bit of power on that and then come down to the other end. Like that. That can have a block on it. And power that. Perfect. Then get yourself a power onto your activator rail, and we're ready to set up this system. We're now going to set up the system that is going to push these villagers into our pod. So come to the track that is between the detector and the activator rail and come out 2 high above the track. So that being 1, it's not really above the track, it's level, and that one being 2. Come out 2 from behind that, take out the middle block and shove a sticky piston in there like that. So that sticky piston is the one that's going to be basically powering our push. Then we need a block next to that detector rail. We need to get ourselves a redstone repeater right there. That's going to go into a block there, and that block is going to have a little bit of redstone dust on it like that. And then we have to kind of block everything else in. So all of these blocks are temporary, remember, so it doesn't matter what you use, but just create a row that sort of size of that block and that side of that block. It doesn't matter that there's a gap here. That does not matter at all. Now, if you want to feel absolutely super duper safe, you can put another row of temporary blocks right there. It's not utterly necessary, but you can do it if you want to. So we now have to get the villagers inside the farm. Now, you have to use villagers that have been bred or come from a spawn egg, because if you use naturally spawning villagers that have come from a village, they could have stuff in their inventory. If they've got stuff in their inventory, it's a nightmare. It's just not going to work, because villagers with stuff in their inventory are not seen by the farmer as needing food. So they need to be empty, and the best way to do that is to use a villager breeder and get empty inventory. Now you need at least 1 brown coat, or as I say, if you're using 1.14, you need at least 1 villager that's wearing a hat. That's what's necessary. So we're just going to put a water bucket there. We're pretending this is my village. Okay, this is my village now, or this is my villager breeder, and this is kind of a simulation. What's going to happen is I'm going to allow this cart to go. Because the hitbox of the minecart overlaps with the hitbox of the villager, that means that the villager goes into the minecart. That's what happens. If hitboxes overlap, they merge and the villager sits in the minecart. The minecart's going to go up here. It's going to go over the activator rail, which is going to kick the villager out. The villager will land on that block, and instantly, because the minecart goes over the detector rail, the villager will be pushed into the pod using the sticky piston. So I'm just going to turn it on. There we go. Off that goes, and he gets pushed inside. Perfect. It comes back. It collects a second one. In it goes. And it does that for as many villagers as you want. I recommend 3 or 4 villagers, at least which of one is a farmer. Has to be a farmer. If you've not got a farmer, it ain't going to work, trust me. So that last one in, there it goes, and in that one goes. So we've got our villagers in our pods. It is now time to get one of your villagers inside the farm, and theoretically what you can do is you can literally just break one of these entrances, and one of the villagers will go in, and if he doesn't want to, then give him a little push. But as you can see, he ran in there all on his own. He's starting to do these and he's loving it in there. Look, he's all about the carrots, that one. He's really, really enjoying it. And these ones here are all thinking, hang on a minute, where's my food? I wanted to go in there and do that, except for this priest dude who just wanted to do some praying and play with rotten flesh, but that's his choice too. Now, when that farmer gets kind of more in its inventory, he's going to want to share the food with these guys in this pod, and he'll come over and throw the food to them because he's stupid. Because he's stupid, he throws it against the glass that the villagers are behind, and as a result of throwing it in the glass that the villagers are behind, it falls into the hoppers, and because it falls into the hoppers, it goes down into the chests, and that is the principle behind the farm. And he's starting to get a fuller inventory. He's not got enough quite yet, but he will have a fuller inventory soon, and he'll start to share the carrots. What we need to do now is we need to clear off these extra bits and pieces. So get rid of all these temporary blocks, get rid of your redstone and your sticky pistons, get rid of your repeater, and you can now also get rid of your track because you're finished with your track. You don't need to put any more villagers inside here. You've got plenty. So now we just need to finish off the farm. You'll notice I've not removed this row of temporary blocks just yet because you need to be very careful. These villagers are slimy little critters and they will take the first opportunity to jump in, and so you need to remove and place very quickly to make sure they don't jump out. Then you can get your slabs, cover over with slabs like this all the way around, pop one there, and similarly you want to get yourself a little bit of glowstone on that, and that will give enough light inside this pod for the villagers to not have a zombie spawn inside there with it, which they tend to get quite upset about, I've found. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to carry on and trim up the roof in exactly the same way as we did before, all the way to the edge, like that. And then we can come around and finish off that pod, and underneath here we can come around and create another system like that. Now what you may want to do here is you might want to change that and then turn that into a slab, just to give a better looking aesthetic. Again, come under here, change that one and put a slab underneath there, and that gives a better aesthetic. That's much better. And now we just need to put a little bit of light underneath, because if we don't put any light underneath, we're going to find that we get mobs spawning under there. It's not going to cause them any harm, of course, but it will certainly have an irritating noise. So I recommend pop a torch on that little middle section under each one of those. Pop a torch either side of your chests, and that is actually a finished working system. Now all you've got to do is make it look nicer, and I've decided to really not do too much of it. I've put another bottom slab wood but above the level of the stairs there, which I think adds for just another little bit of depth. It's again non-spawnable, so you don't have to worry about light on that. That's not a problem. These upside down steps here, however, are spawnable, so we have shoved in here a bit of glowstone surrounded by these really nice trapdoors. I like these trapdoors a lot, and it makes them look a little bit like barrels, which is obviously a positive, and it's in keeping with a villager setting. And then under here, obviously we've got it all lit up. It's already started to work. We've got what, nearly a stack and a half, or about a stack and a half of carrots in there so far. That little fella's going at it. If you would like to make it work faster, you can put more than one farmer inside. That works fine too, but I find one farmer is absolutely fine. This has been going for about an hour or so, so you're getting about a stack and a half of carrots per hour on average. There you go, a really simple villager driven farm that you can get your food coming into it fairly quickly. It takes a little bit of time to prime, maybe half an hour or so before he actually starts rolling. But once that fella starts going, he's tireless. He pulls up those carrots like there's no tomorrow. So he's a good little worker. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you've enjoyed it, and I will keep on making them. Also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.